Howdy, howdy, this is TPot. Welcome to World of Goo. This is a wonderful game that was made in 2008 by 2D Boy Publishing. The whole idea is that you've got these goo balls, which you have to construct into some type of shape. So I've got these goo balls here that I can click on, I can drag them, but if I bring them close to an existing glue ball structure, you can see that white line that comes up. I can actually create structure out of this. And of course, the purpose is to create a structure that gets close enough to this pipe to suck in the rest of the goo balls. I get those over here, and so when conditions like here, I had to get at least 4 goo balls. But notice if I bring that goo ball up there, I get this OCD. The OCD is kind of like an extra level where if you get the OCD, if you get every single goo ball you possibly can on the level, or if you do it within a certain amount of time, you can get the OCD flag. And these show up as flags on each level. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little tour through the game, kind of talk about some of the gameplay here. Just thought I'd do something a little bit different. Notice how this came up with the flag. I'm going to have some difficulty with some of the OCDs, so we're just going to do a little playthrough here to kind of talk about this. So this is one of the other things that we've got, bridge building. And so what I'm going to have to do is take these goo balls and bridge over this gap without dropping it. Keep in mind, if I was to drop it over the edge, then that goo ball will die. So I need some type of bridge here. The problem is that these goo balls have weight. And because the goo balls have weight, they tend to bring things down. By the way, notice these signs over here. If I click on the signs, it gives me some information about the level here. So from across a small divide, another mysterious pipe appeared up in the sky. Its opening looked warm and inviting. The goo balls seemed to wonder where it might lead. The sign painter. And they're all signed the sign painter, who's this ubiquitous creature. So the idea here is that I want to get up to said pipe, and I can. That's it. Something else you may have noticed that some of these were sleeping over here, and the thing is, sometimes you can't get a goo ball unless there's a structure for the goo ball to be on. Notice I didn't get the OCD because I ended up doing a couple of extra down here, so I could try redoing this. but I don't think I'm going to go try and OCD every single time. I think if it happens, great. It happens. If not, then we'll deal with it. So, end of 1.2. And so this takes us across this bridge to this point, and here's hanging low. Now, what's nice about this game is that it has this aspect of polymorphism. Notice that these goo balls are different from the ones that I had. So let's go ahead and read what the sign painter has to say. This cave looks like it's been undisturbed for thousands of years until now. When the pipe broke through the ceiling above, the sunlight must have blinded these rare albino goo balls. They didn't seem to notice when it began to snow. Maybe they would wake up if they had something to jump onto. The sign painter. So what's really nice about this game is, one, it's a really good notion of polymorphism. The notion that we've got these objects that behave differently depending on the scenario, but they're all in essence goo balls. Notice how this goo ball, if I bring it a little bit closer, it'll actually bridge towards both of those. So these are different than the goo balls we had before, which just kind of just did triangulation type things. So I've got this nice little bridge, and notice that these goo balls are starting to wake up their brethren. And of course, all the things here have gravity. So there, I've achieved all my goo balls. Also notice that these structures aren't necessarily as rigid as the structures we were dealing with before. And of course, the idea is that I want to get more of these triangles as possible to allow the goo balls to build. So the triangular structure is going to help me a lot. Now, again, I'm not going to get the OCD, because to get the OCD, you actually don't build this structure. You actually have to find another way to get the goo balls up into this little bridge here. So, maybe when we get to the end of the series, after we've done all the levels, we might go through it and show how to OCD some of these levels. But the other thing is that it does this notion of let me show you how to play the game. And so here we have the notion of I have to build a structure in order for the goo balls to attach to it. And also we see the first time that we actually have different types of goo balls. And the different types of goo balls are something that we're going to see prevalent throughout. This is coming up. This is actually the competitive aspect of the game. So we can actually compete against other people worldwide, and I'll show you all how that works in just a bit. Let's go shopping! Ah, ah, ah. And so now I have the World of Goo Corporation, which is unlocked, and I can click down here. By the way, if you've noticed, every time I've completed a level, it's told me I've had a certain number of extra goo balls above and beyond the goal. Those goo balls actually end up here, where I can build a tower as tall as I want. And so it says as you complete the levels, the extra goo balls you collect are sent here. How nice to see them again, though they seem to have lost the rest since this must be the World of Goo's Corporation's sleek new campus 2.0. The same employees are given free cereal as they ride to the meetings on scooters. World of Goo Corporation executives say this area is infinite in all directions, and if you look hard, you can see other people here too, building towers off in the distance. Strange, everyone just wants to build up. What's up there anyway? Some type of metagame. See you real soon, the sign painter. And of course, if I click the connect button, then I can actually connect, and I will see little clouds up here, or at least I used to be able to. Keep in mind this game came out in 2008, and so it's not necessarily a lot of people playing this game anymore. It's probably just me, along with a few others. But the idea is that you can build geodesic structures that basically you can see how high you can do stuff. So keep in mind, some of these things actually build triangles, and some of them just build struts. So it's just something to be aware of. What I can do is I can take this goo ball, pull him off, and put it up here to enable me to build even taller structure. So, and then if I really wanted to, I could hit a magic reset button. So I have no new messages. This will actually come into play a little bit later. But there is the magic reset button, and if I click on that magic reset button, this will collapse. So, just a little bit of where we're going. This will take us back to our previous screen here. And I need to continue. So again, we're going slowly building up to our ability, and it says pop a time bug to go back in time by one move. As I build structure, I'm going to get time bug space, and it looks kind of like the eyes of the goo balls. coming off to become these. You can be, and the other thing you have to be careful of is that these things will collapse. So yeah, let's go back one more. So we're good. Now what I can do is I can continue to build structure up. And of course the idea about building this structure up, come on, come back, come back, come back. Seriously. Is that this will eventually, come on, you can do it. So now that's low enough that it's not going to get cut by these chainsaws. And they do allow me to get these extra goo balls. Remember that I need the sign in order to get it. These goo balls were excited to explore the mysterious pipe system, even if it meant traversing ridiculously contrived terrain. One of the goo balls seemed to say he felt like an armadillo. Moo. Love the mysterious sign painter. So, it seems rather wasteful to kind of get one goo ball to get these last two. So one of the techniques we have is the notion of bowling them onto the maze. And so that gets them all up. So I just need one more to make them all get there. And everyone gets sucked in the pipe. Beautiful, wonderful, marvelous. Again, remember all of these extras that I'm getting, 35, 36, 37, and 38, and 39. Those are going to go to my World of Goo corporation. And so I'm going to be able to build with those later if I so choose. Okay, so there we go. They get flushed down the tube. And now we've got the fork in the road where we need to decide which way we're going to go. So I can choose to go this way, Ivy Towers, or this way, which is a flying machine. Both of these introduce a new type of goo ball. So let's go ahead and talk about this, the Ivy Towers. So notice these, first thing that makes them very distinctive, they're green. A new species of goo ball. I must say they look quite beautiful. Maybe they have commitment anxiety, I'm not sure, but it looks like they can be easily detached from each other. So this is giving you a clue that this new goo ball has some ability that the other goo balls didn't. We hadn't had the ability to detach goo balls from each other, but these do. And of course, if I choose to, I can grab this one and notice that it's detached. I can do stuff with it. So I can make it higher. The other thing to notice is that these kind of settle. But what's difficult about this one is that you kind of have to build a gap, and you're building this structure. Oops, that was not helpful at all. Let's go ahead and take care of this. So let's get him. But the other thing to notice is that it seems as if they're not giving you enough goo balls to get up to the pipe. And that's really what this is trying to teach you. Like here, I've used all of my goo balls, and I'm still nowhere near the pipe. But remember, they said that we can detach these. And so I can use these to get up to the pipe. And of course, the idea that they're pressing against the sides here gives them some structural integrity. Come on, let go. Here. There we go. Problem is, if I let go of that, some of these might start to sink. Like taking care of that one. Notice the whole structure kind of sinks a bit. So what I need to do is I actually need to kind of build something there to keep it from sinking too much. And in reality, we'll show you in just a moment how to get an OCD on this level. So I want to get as close as I can to this pipe. Good. And once I do this, I can rend two of these off, and I just have this little triangle floating. And I can add these one at a time to the triangle. So once I do that, and again, this is another example of that polymorphism that I was talking about, the idea that all the goo balls have a certain part to them, like they're clickable, they have the same personification features. You see the eyes and the eyebrows. They build structures together, but what makes them different is that like for example, they're a different color and they're separable. So watch, I can take this one off and add it here, and then if I take this one off, the other one's going to get sucked. Just one last thing, and that gets me the OCD, but there's no way to get that last one. So that's all the goo balls that I possibly could have gotten. So that's going to get me the OCD flag. And again, going to this notion of going to this notion of these different forms. Notice now I've got these pink goo balls here. Let's see, is there a flag that I can talk there? So it says open the gates and let fly monkeys fly. But forget about me, sincerely. Now notice that I can't even click on these little black ones. These are a different type of goo balls that we haven't dealt with. So I'm going to go ahead and attach balloons to these gates, and that gets the gates to open. And I can do the same thing over here. But the thing that's important to notice is that I only need 3 of them. So what I can do is I can add balloons here and here, and that will bring this square up to the pipe. And this is going to be a technique that's very important in the later game, this notion of creating flying structures. And so that's going to get all of our balls in there. By the way, to get the OCD flag in here, you have to complete this in like 6 seconds. So, I mean, I never was going to get that here. For those of y'all who have seen me do my gaming before, y'all know I use a touchpad rather than a mouse to do this. It's just part of the way my laptop's built. So, but I just wanted to talk about this. The idea is that we have these different structures here, these balloon structures, which don't actually create the bands between goo balls. Instead, they allow it to fly. They've got this pink amorphous shape. You have those generic black ones that you can't even click on. So again, we see this polymorphism showing up in several different aspects of the game. And of course, we see that we're getting closer to some end stage over here. So I've got the tumbler. This is one of the levels where I've got to take this structure and get it up to this pipe. And notice that we've got the same goo balls from the from Ivy, which we'll go ahead and call those the Ivy goo balls. What's nice about the Ivy goo balls is that they're recyclable. The idea is that once I have a structure built with them, it's fairly easy for me to take it apart and recondition it. Recondition it. The other thing that's important to notice is that once I create a structure with it, so these break. So what I can do, that gets me up there, but I can actually break the structure off and get the OCD by breaking these up. Eventually, I can get this up there as part of the structure and get it. But at this point, I've got the 8 of the 8 that I need. I can always go back and get these later because I can just go back and see where I don't have OCD flags. So this completes that level. And I've got a chain. And this continues the idea of using these IV goo balls. These are some of the more of the generic goo balls. Notice that they're sleeping. And I eventually need to get up to a pipe that's up here. So it's like our sign. The goo balls on this side didn't seem to like the goo balls over there on that side. I don't know. They look the same to me. Totally delicious. The sign painter. So that makes me wonder, what type of structure are we looking at here? By the way, something that's important to note is that while these green ones are recyclable, if you want to think of it that way. I'm going to show you why I did that in just a moment. These, if I ever click on these and cause them to form a structure, I will be stuck with them. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect that, bring it over here, and I can disconnect this. And that'll wake all of those up. Now, the thing is, I don't want to create a structure with these because then I can't undo it. So I need to do that same notion of what I just did down here to wake up these goo balls and bring them down. And of course, remember that I can just do that to bring them up. So I can click on any of these goo balls and send them up. But I don't want to break, I don't want to create a structure with them. So I want to be carefuler than I was with this green one. And of course, I am just kind of throwing them up there pretty high, but they won't. If they fall down, they're actually going to fall down to this chain, this rope here. And of course, I want to do the same thing over here. Stop it. And I can carry all of these and shoot them up. And then with these green ones, I actually want to start building a chain up to that pipe. So chain up to the pipe. Remember, I don't want the black ones. I want the green ones. And so the thing is, if you want the OCD, then you have to go through all of this. So I'm not going to go through the OCD on every single thing. Just enough to get everything kind of going here. I'll get everyone up, and then I'll worry about this. Okay, so I guess I'm not going to get the OCD here after all that work. Remember that structures will actually fall down, even though so let's get this together. Maybe we can get it. Thing is, you can use the suction to help maintain the structure. Which is an option. So I'm going to go ahead and rip this off, rip this off, get the structure up there, and get the OCD. This gets us our OCD flag. And this gets us down to this corner, where we'll eventually have to build some type of bridge as well. But I can't get here until I complete these levels. So here, this is going the balloon path, and so notice that I'm going to be dealing with balloons here. So I've got this, but what's important to notice is that down here at the bottom and up here at the top, I've got these spikes. So I really can't go too low or too high. Fisty swore that he would never be like those tadpoles that grow up and shoot colored gems out of their mouth. But he wondered what it might be like, the sign painter. And of course, that's reference to a lot of the the gem games where you have to shoot gems up, and once you get 3 of them in a row, the same color, the pieces would fall down. That's kind of the notion here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these balloons out of the way, because I'm going to need to build structure with these goo balls. And of course, because we're dealing with gravity, these goo balls tend to sink. But if I put a balloon up there, this will rise. So we've got this combination of things we can do. And so the notion is that I can take these balloons, which I usually collect down here at one end, but so that it can't get too high up until I get a bridge down a certain length. Oh, it's so close. Oh, hear all that dying down there. Okay. So at this point, there's no way I can possibly do this. If I hit a fire plug, then this is gonna basically that balloon died. So what I need to do is actually take one of these balloons and kind of put it in an intermediate step. But I also need to make sure I add weight quickly, but not too quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and take another balloon here. It's going to give me some. Nope. And there we go. And now that will hold it. And that gets me my thing. Now to get the OCD, what you actually have to do is get some of this to break off, and then get one of these triangles to come across with balloons to drop off. I forget how many. I think it's like 14 or 15 of those goo balls. It's some really difficult stuff to do. Some of these OCDs are very tedious, very difficult. And so, as I said, I'm not going to get all of them, but we're going to get a few of them. But of course, keep in mind what these games are trying to do is trying to teach you how to beat the final stage. Now, this is actually the prototype from the original game. Notice how many goo balls I've got. And I have to get all the way up to this pipe up here. So let's see. Go as fast as you can. They are stronger than think, they will have to work together to climb very high a real tower of goo. Some of them felt like they had done something like this a long time ago, but things were more experimental back then. Peace, the sign maker. And this actually, it's a testament to the original version of the game. The original version of the game was just building a tower. So there was actually an experimental game design class. I forget which university did it, but the students were given a physics engine, which is where the gravity and other things here come from, and they had to find a way to implement that into a game within a week. And so the idea is that you implement this physics engine and just try and get your goo balls to come up, and of course notice what's happening here. Gravity is occurring. So we need to add weight. And notice that I still have quite a distance to go to get up to that thing. And this will actually start to collapse upon itself if I'm not careful. Luckily, this isn't a rigid structure, and it won't actually break, but I do need to put the support beams in there. I'm going to put another support beam in here. Yes, and another one here. All I need to do is get 25 of these goo balls up here. I think I start off with close to 80. And then it's just a race to the top. A race to the top before the mass of all these goo balls does that. And of course, whenever the goo balls get off to the edge of the screen, they break, and then you can build them again. So you do have a finite amount of space to work with. Okay, come on. Let's go this way, this way, this way, and up this way. Don't go too far. Oh, so close. There we go. And so that should be enough. Notice that I had some goo balls that fell off the side. And so I can get them back on the structure. So I've got all 25 of the goo balls that I need, plus these extra ones down here at the bottom, which are slowly worming their way up here. Only one real collapsed region, so lots of fun. So anyway, this is a really entertaining game. It's a fun dealing with this physics engine here. It's got a very Tim Burton-like feel to it. I know everyone describes it as a Tim Burton-like game. You know, almost like a Paul Rubens' Pee-wee's Playhouse type thing behind it, and so I highly suggest the game. It's wonderful. It's on Steam. It's on WiiWare. It's on virtually any platform. I'm playing this on Linux, but it's for Windows and Mac as well. Now that I've completed this, I can now get to this bridge, and so this is similar to the original bridge that I had up here, except the distance is much farther. It looks harder than it is. And so notice I've got some of the sleeping goo balls that we've dealt with, but I've got this huge expanse that I need to cover. And I've got this beautiful backlit area. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the sign. As the sun set over the last of the hills, one of the goo balls seemed to say, the life sure seemed like a giant physics simulation. But as he fell into the spiky death pit below, he knew it probably didn't matter. Love the sign painter. So the thing is, I need to build across to here, and it says, "Hello, this is Mom. Are you there? Are you coming home?" And this is foreshadowing to something that's going to happen in a later stage, which hopefully we'll get to. So I'm going to go ahead and start building a bridge. And again, the idea is that I want to No! Stop! Thank you. Let's go ahead and go back another. Yeah. Okay. And so the idea is that I want to kind of build a structure that's going to go across the bridge. So I can kind of imagine these being support beacons. I only have to get 8 goo balls across, and there are 8 goo balls over here, I believe. Actually, I think there's only 4, but that doesn't matter. Oh, please don't. No! Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit the retry button because I'm just not doing well. So one of the techniques that I have actually liked to do when I'm playing this level is actually to build straight up. Because one of the things that will happen is if I build straight up, notice how this thing is tipping over. And eventually I get to this point, where now I've got this side over here. And so I can continue this notion of stop. Lovely. So I can continue this notion of building straight up after I've already teetered down, and then when this thing actually starts teetering over, I don't have to worry so much about the mass of the goo balls, because the goo balls are all hanging down here. And so now notice I'm getting a much better picture of what's going on. And I'm going to go ahead and let's go. Go ahead and put a little support structure in there. No, don't do that. Stretch. You can do it. You can do it. No, stop. The thing I worry about is if that thing bends like that, then I've lost it. So, can I hit some bugs? Hit another bug? There we go. So now, yeah, let's flash back a couple of times. So this is going to take me back here. I really want to kind of keep this from causing too much of a problem. That was not what I wanted to do. I want a nice bridge between these two. There we go. So let's try building up again. That was working well for us before. We're almost all the way across. Come on, and bend up. There we go. So now I've got this resting ledge. So now what I need to do is just build up to the pipe. And knock you in. I said knock you in. Okay, fine. Doesn't matter. I don't need him. I can try and get him later. Close enough. So I've won this useless structure, excess weight, but this is going to get me to the final level, which will end today's episode. So here's our final episode. We've got the regurgitating pumping station. It's a secret. Of course, notice these are our IVs. And so as the thing goes up, let's go and read the sign. The last of the goo balls didn't seem to know that they were extremely delicious, or about the nature of the smelly pit in which they found themselves. It said something about this being the last level of the first chapter, whatever that means, the sign painter. So notice that I've got IVs, so I need to build some type of structure, and also remember that IVs are separable, which is helpful. So a couple of things that we've got here. Another thing you'll notice is I've got these gears here, which we've learned from previous levels are dangerous. But the other thing I notice is that I've got this upwards direction. So I'm going to go ahead and build this as much structure as I can. Ideally, I've learned from the IVs that I'm supposed to make this wide. Because if I make it wide, then it will hold. So let's go ahead and there, that should hold. And so these are extra at this point. So now what I need to do is build up. But again, we've talked about how those gears are dangerous. Well, that was useless. At least it appears now these gears aren't necessarily destructive to the balls, they're just destructive to the pass that they make. And then I've got another sign here. You might be onto something. It'll be a tight fit, but you'll have to leave some behind, but that's probably okay. We're in this all together. The sign painter was here too. So let's go ahead and get this branch that's kind of useless. And I noticed something happening here. And everything's going up. It's just wonderful. So let's continue this. This is a good idea. And we did leave some behind. That's okay. Here they are up here. And so we're at this point. So I've got all these goo balls, and I've got a sign here. They say at the highest point on the this is the highest point on the entire island. As the sun rises, you can almost see forever. But I wonder what you might see if you floated a little higher. We'll meet again in the sign painter. And if you played this level before, there's an obvious clue, but it's not intuitive for what we got here. I can see that this is the mouth and stuff. I see these eyes, but I can select these eyes. And these are balloons, which we've seen before. We know how balloons can act, so this will do something. So let's go ahead and put the balloons up. I've got plenty of balloons on this side as well. And you see what's happening. Excellent. And this just kind of floats off. No pipe here. Just floating off into the sunset. From very high up and with some totally huge eyes, this goo balls can see very, very far. In every direction. They could see unexplored new islands, each crawling with undiscovered new species of goo. The gameplay possibilities would certainly be endless. The goo balls hoped a brave adventurer would explore their new discoveries. As they drifted higher and higher, they knew they would never be back. And this is the end of Chapter 1. Now, if you go to the World of Goo website, this is actually the end of the free version. But what we'll do next time is we'll take a look at Chapter 2, Little Miss World of Goo. So we're going to go ahead and try and do as far as we can in this game. So once again, this is TPot. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.